In the Korean army, Jun is very excited because he's finally getting discharged. As soon as he leaves the base, he reunites with his girlfriend Yo. However, the moment is ruined when he wakes up and realizes it was a dream. Later during watch duty, Jun calls Yo, who has a hung over, and tells him they can talk in the morning. Jun wants to call her again, but his superior catches him red-handed since and Ho has fallen asleep. The next day, Jun tries calling her again, but Yango is at work, so she doesn't pick up. Afterward, Jun and Inho are part of an emergency deal. The rest of the team works with perfect efficiency, but the duo is clumsy and falls on the stairs while carrying a weapon prop, which during a real emergency would equal death. They're angry. Commander punishes the entire team by making them take the stairs of the 77th floor building where the base is located. Then the commander takes everyone's phones as Jun hands over his. He receives a text from Yo apologizing for not being able to talk earlier. Later, while Jun and a teammate are delivering supplies to the hotel in the same building, Jun glances out the window and sees people convulsing on the street. He thinks nothing of it and continues his errand to the kitchen while his teammate is distracted. Jun borrows a phone from Chef Young and calls Yango, who has to quickly hang up because she's still at work. When she has a moment alone, she tries calling the same number, but Jun has already given the phone back to Young. In the evening, Ando tells their commander that he has a sick kid and asks for his phone. However, he grabs Jun's on purpose and gives it to him in private. Jun hides in a closet to call Yo and is devastated to hear his crying girlfriend asking him for a break because she sees no future in their relationship as long as he's in the army. The next day, Yango is having lunch with her coworker Jenwook when Jun calls her again. At first she ignores it, but when she sees a voicemail arrive, she rushes to the bathroom to hear it. In the message, Jun apologizes for everything. He admits that asking her to wait is unfair and suggests they break up. Yango starts crying and decides to visit the base, so Jinwook offers her a ride during the trip. Jinwook confesses that he is willing to wait for Yo, making her uncomfortable. Suddenly, his car collides with a man, and the impact sends him crashing through the window. His eyeball ends up on Yo's neck, making her scream. To her shock, the man is still alive, so she puts the eyeball in a bag and asks Jinwook to help her take the guy out. However, Jinwook prioritizes calling the insurance company, and Yo has to ask the curious crowd for help. She recognizes celebrity Alex, putting him on the spot. Now Alex has no choice but to help her. For the cameras together, they pull the guy out by his legs and drop him on the ground. Alex is shocked to notice his wounds aren't bleeding and tries CPR only to accidentally break the man's ribs. Now the crowd thinks Alex killed him. After the body is moved, they check Jinwook and notice he wetted his pants. At that moment, a truck begins speeding down the street with the driver's head stuck in the window, and Jinwook jumps out of the car just in time to avoid being run over. At the same time, Jun and Inho are sent to get gasoline for the base. Since the military elevator is out of order, they take the route through the hotel, but are stopped by hotel manager Sujing. She warns them not to walk through the hotel because it may make the guests uncomfortable. Before they leave, they notice a plane heading toward the building, and everyone panics, including the soldiers on the roof. However, the plane makes a turn at the last second and ends up crashing on the street. Instead, Jun and Inho decide to take the hotel elevator and are joined by manager Aaron, who scolds them for not using the stairs to stay away from the guests. Suddenly, the elevator stops and an emergency light flashes red. Aaron uses the comms to request help, and soon the elevator is working again. However, when it opens the doors on the next floor, they are horrified to see bodies on the floor and a man falling dead. A bunch of people run down the corridor in panic before a bloody hand stops the elevator from closing. His face looks quite monstrous, and when he falls, he gets stuck in the door. So after calling for help, Aaron covers him with his jacket. The trio leaves the elevator and they're shocked to find a massacre. There's blood and organs everywhere, a terrible smell, and people chasing each other. Following some intestines reveals half a man on the ground still moving, which confirms that the zombie Apocalypse has arrived when Aaron tries to run away. A zombie attacks him, so Anho hits the creature with a bottle to make it fall. Then 3 men push a table to trap the zombie against the counter. Using the lighter, Yo gifted June some alcohol and a tablecloth. They manage to light the zombie on fire to kill it. Chaos and fear are taking over the city. After the plane crash, an alert is sent to every phone, and the government is sending as many rescue teams as possible. A state of national emergency is declared and martial law is imposed, and discovers the whole building has been taken over, so he goes looking for the security team. June and Inho try to return to the base, and a bunch of zombies start chasing him. Through the corridors, the duo manages to find the emergency stairs and closes the door on the zombies' faces as they go up. They're horrified to see the chaos in the city. Upstairs, they see a zombie behind the counter who jumps to attack them. June stabs his head with the scraper and cuts off the top part, finally killing him on the street. Jin Wook is accidentally left behind, and the zombies go after him. Alex runs to rescue him and ends up being chased by zombies. So Yo is now alone when a creature comes after him. She runs to and manages to hide in a salon. She then calls her mother to tell her to stay inside and inform her she'll still go to the base. Meanwhile, Jin Wook sneaks into a golf store to change clothes. A man hiding under the clothing notices, and Yo agrees to accompany him before heading to the base. Back in the hotel, the trio keeps moving and finds Yong holding a door to keep lots of zombies out. They rush to help him and notice the glass is starting to crack. June lights the whole cart on fire and tells his friends to let go. The glass finally breaks, and June pushes the cart, so the flames engulf the zombies and block their way. Unfortunately, the fire also triggers the sprinklers, so the group has run very fast to escape from the incoming zombies. They manage to hide behind the stairs gate, and Young collapses, so Jaein has to help him move. In the meantime, Yo and Jin Wook arrive at the police station, where a desperate crowd sells supplies while waiting for the cops to do anything. Here they find Alex, who tells them the zombie outbreak is happening all over the world. There are many crazy theories about what happened, but nobody knows the truth. He also explains that people get into fights when phones ring, so he advises them to turn theirs off. Yo sends June one last message. Before doing so, suddenly a group of armed men, known as hunters, push the crowd to the side and first into the police station. They open fire inside to scare the police zombies into leaving the building, causing the crowd to run away in fear as the hunters open fire to kill the creatures. Yango and the guys start running too until they find an empty bar to hide in. Back to the base, the 4 survivors make it to the roof where the soldiers are waiting. They don't believe the zombie story and scold June for bringing civilians to the roof door. Then Young collapses, and the others notice he isn't breathing. When he stands up again, he's transformed into his zombie because he was bitten in the leg. Young tries to attack Sujin, who blocks him with a scraper. A soldier hits him with his weapon to make him fall, but Young quickly recovers, and the men are forced to open fire. However, their guns have blanks instead of actual bullets, so Young only gets scratches when he picks up a soldier by the helmet. The others start discussing if they should use real bullets on a civilian. The man falls when the helmet breaks, and the other soldiers use the inside for treatment, but after a long convulsion he dies. Then the team argues with their leader until he allows them to have their phones back to call their families. June sees all of Yo's messages and immediately texts her back in the bar. Yo finds a cassette with June's favorite music, which brings back memories of their old dates. Alex then reveals he has a tablet and shows her a picture of Ho and Jaein running around the hotel. It turns out Alex was there as a guest earlier. Yango cries as she turns her phone back on and tries calling June, but the network isn't working because there are too many calls. She decides to go to the base, and Alex volunteers to go with her, so Jin Wook reluctantly comes too. The trio runs through the streets, taking the long road to avoid zombies. At the base, the soldiers realized they don't have much food, so they ration it in small portions during dinner. The power starts failing, and they discover their Phones don't have signal anymore. Suddenly something bangs on the door, and the group concludes the dead soldier must have transformed. The leader opens the door and sends the man flying, confirming he's a zombie. Now one of the men is happy to see his friend alive and runs to hug him, only to get bitten in the head instead. The others run to separate them. Then Guy Young and Sujing start doing CPR on the bitten soldier, hoping to stop him from dying and therefore transforming. The rest of the team covers the zombies with a blanket and opens fire, finally killing him. A flashback shows that Yo and Jaein met each other in college. Yo was the most popular student, but she turned down every guy because she only had eyes for June. Later, they started working together in the same ice cream shop, and June protected Yo from rude customers. Working together allowed them to bond. But when Yo finally was brave enough to ask him out, June turned her down. In private, he confessed to a coworker that he felt that someone like him could never be with someone as beautiful as her. After work, June found Yo crying at the bus stop. Yo tried to run away but tripped on her shoelaces, so June helped her out and admitted he liked her too. In the present, the bitten soldier turns into a zombie and tries to attack In-ho, throws boiling water at his face, but this only makes the zombie angrier. The other soldiers still can't shoot someone with a friend. Find a drunk Samsu throwing up his leg has a zombie bite, however he hasn't died or transformed at all. The trio wonders if they should bring him at all, but at that moment Samsu's phone rings and gets some zombies' attention. The group immediately runs away and hides in a restaurant. Samsu is tied up and Jin Wook thinks they should kill him before he transforms, but Yango refuses. After Samsu throws up again and describes how much he drank, an argument ensues on how to proceed. They're suddenly interrupted by a zombie cop coming out of hiding and trying to attack. However, he ignores Sam's Su. Yango runs away from the zombie and trips in the process, causing him to trip as well. This makes a bunch of dishes fall on his head, killing him afterward. Alex takes the cop's breathalyzer and uses it on Samsu to confirm his alcohol level is still very high. He theorizes that alcohol keeps zombies away, so the group decides to drink until sunrise to see if being drunk can keep them safe. While drinking, Yango tries calling June, but the lines are still down, so she sends a text. She also remembers how he was there for her when her father died. The lighter had been a gift from her to her dad when she was a child, and before dying the man left the lighter for June. The next morning, the four of them are incredibly drunk and leave the restaurant. Soon they find a horde of zombies, so while the others hide, Samu moves ahead. Since the creatures ignore it, he convinces to In-ho that he has lost his sense of duty. They decide they must abandon the base and find their loved one. The duo goes to see the second in command and find him getting ready to self-delete, but the man puts away the gun and pretends he's fine. June and In-ho explained that the base is running out of food and water, but before they can get permission to leave, the office phone rings. It's a call from the higher-ups telling them that a helicopter will drop supplies soon, which means they can't leave. The soldiers get ready to welcome the chopper. However, In-ho realizes that the pilots are zombies. He warns the others, and they immediately open fire. It takes lots of bullets, but eventually they destroy the engine and the helicopter crashes on the ground. Then they get a call from their superiors scolding them for destroying army property, and their punishment will be not getting any supplies. Yet they aren't allowed to leave, either deciding to ignore orders. The new team leader announces they're leaving anyway. After Sujing receives her own uniform and gun, the group starts making their way downstairs while shooting any zombie that appears on their way, building, only to discover the entrance full of zombies and an ambulance blocking the door. They'll need something to fight them off, so they go looking for Alex's car since he claims he has tools. The parking lot is pretty big, and the group splits into pairs to search for the right vehicle. Unfortunately, Yo and Jin Wook find a horde of zombies and have them at the horde as a bunch of creatures begin burning down. Yango and JYW use the chance to rejoin their friends and run away. Alex is the last one to move because he keeps throwing bombs only the zombies to surround him and bite him. Yango wants to help him, but Jin-wook points out it's too late and drags her into a valet parking booth for protection. Sam-soo does go back to help, but the bombs on Alex's backpack also blow up and kill him since Sam-soo is still ignored by the zombies. He grabs Alex's keys and goes looking for his car. He never learned to drive, so Yo and Jen Wook have to give him instructions. The phone. Sam-soo quickly loses control of the vehicle while the zombies start to surround the booth. At that moment, Jun's phone picks the hotel Wi-Fi and calls Yo. The couple is very excited to see each other again, and Yo asks Jun what floor he's on because she's in the parking lot desperate to protect her. Jun lies and says he left the building with his team. He tells her to go to Suwa Station where the military is setting up a new base and promises to find her there later. The call is cut short when Yo's phone dies while the soldiers continue to shoot the zombies that keep reaching the lounge. They find Chef Poo hiding in the kitchen. Then they finally sit to have a meal, ignoring Pao when he writes down the charges for later. The team leader returns to the kitchen to grab a drink and finds a Zai in the vent. The group hears a noise and turns around to find a zombie coming after them, but since it's missing half of its body, it's easy to shoot it down. Unfortunately, the soldier comes back from the kitchen, transformed into a zombie, and since it has a bite on his nose, they conclude that the closest the bite is to the brain, the fastest the transformation. Youngman steps forward and cries as he shoots his now zombified friend to kill him in the parking lot. Sam-soo gets the hang of driving and runs over the zombie surrounding the booth to save his friends. Jin-wook takes over the wheel to leave the building and drives like a maniac to run over every single zombie he sees just to deal with his frustration. When the others calm him down, Jin-wook and Soo starts fighting the zombies, but he freezes when his body starts to trance. Since everyone is trying, and they find the station as crowded as the streets. When the train arrives, everyone goes so crazy that Yo and Jin-wook are pulled apart in the chaos. People push too hard against the safety glass and crack it, causing some passengers to fall on the rails and be run over by the train. Most of the crowd manages to get into the train, including Yo, who decides to give her spot to an innocent child and comforts the grandmother as the train leaves the station. Watching the blood on the tracks, then the grandmother takes out a knife and jumps on the tracks to go after her grandson. Yango follows her while another train reaches the station and helps her get off the rails, only to realize the old lady was bitten. As the train leaves the station in front of them, the woman transforms into a zombie and tries to attack. Yango has no choice but to push her head against the train to kill her. Crying over this traumatic experience, Yango starts hearing her mother's voice and follows it to find a door to a restricted area. Inside there are some zombies, but she easily avoids them as she engineering degree to fix it. After putting on some protective gear, she leaves the room and is attacked by zombies, so she starts killing them with her new weapon. Unfortunately, there are too many of them, so she starts running, entering a narrow passage to force them into a line. She starts killing them without mercy while hallucinating that they're talking to her. Eventually, she finds an opening and runs through the area until she can hide in the emergency stairs, where she falls asleep. In the meantime, on another high floor in the building, it's revealed that Aaron is still alive because he's been hiding in a room after barricading the door with furniture. He hears about evacuation plans on the news and decides to leave. But first, he protects his body with sofa cushions. Aaron keeps drinking a lot while making his way down the corridors to be brave when he finds a huge stapler. He begins using it as a weapon to quickly kill zombies at the lounge. Over what to do with him, Aaron tells them he understands and that they should leave without him. Suddenly, they hear some noises above and notice blood falling on the elevator's glass ceiling. The group gets out of the elevator right before the glass breaks and the zombies burst in. Everyone starts running as fast as possible and hiding in any empty room they can find, while Aaron keeps with the zombies and confirms the vents will get them out while the soldiers make the vent holes bigger. Eren goes first to draw arrows that will guide the group to the exit. One by one, the soldiers enter the vents and crawl through them until they reunite with Eren. Gu Young and Sujing are moving together when suddenly a zombie falls on top of Guy Young. Sujing immediately stabs the creature in the head to kill it, but there's also a zombie horde approaching them from the back. The duo crawls as fast as possible while watching the zombies on two walkie-talkies at a very high frequency, and the zombies immediately follow the noise. Since Eren is drunk, they move past him and fall right into the pit. Back to Yango, she enters a room full of fog and is excited to find June, but he suddenly starts transforming into a zombie. He asks Yo to end it, so she's forced to defend herself. At that moment, she wakes up from this nightmare and continues searching for an exit. She manages to return to the station and follows a mysterious song until she finds a room where survivors are hiding. There's also a famous singer there, which means this is another hallucination. While listening to the man sing, Yo looks at old pictures on her phone. She remembers the day she went camping with June and how he said that he'd understand if she broke up with him while he was in the army because her happiness mattered most to him. Now she's more determined to find him, so she gathers some supplies. Elevator, but they discover it's broken. There's a second one hanging outside the window a few floors down, and June is sent to retrieve it. While continuously panicking, he climbs down the rope and falls right into the elevator. He's horrified to notice the state of the city and even cries a bit. Afterward, he activates the elevator and goes up to pick up his friends. Now everyone starts descending together and they think they're finally going to escape. Unfortunately, the elevator gets stuck right in front of a window and the zombies see them, so they start pounding on the glass to try to reach them. June desperately punches the elevator's control box and gets it to move again, but at the same time the zombies finish breaking the window and jump out. A vicious battle begins as the team tries their best to defend themselves. The zombies are holding on to the elevator base and the rope won't stand the weight much longer. After lots of struggling, the group manages to push all the zombies off, but it's too late. A rope is already broken. Thankfully, the elevator swings into a window and lands inside, so everyone gets out except for June. At that moment, discover that the team is throwing them out the window. Everyone is fighting like crazy while trying to keep the zombies behind the doors. When they see June, they get excited and communicate through walkie-talkies to make a plan. There are a bunch of abandoned mattresses nearby, so June creates a safe landing spot while the team uses the elevator rope to make a zip line using their vests. The team slides down the zip line one by one until only Youngman is left. He then reveals his bite wound and tells everyone to leave without him. At each other, Yongyo leaves the train and returns to the tracks. There she's found by a female train attendant who guides her through a bloodied hallway full of decapitated bodies. She explains that the men Chas ing her did it before inviting her to hide together in an office room. Yango puts a clock's batteries into the landline phone and calls her mother, but they don't talk for long to avoid being heard by the zombies or the men in town. The team is having trouble finding a street that isn't blocked by abandoned cars. At that moment, Eren announces he's sobering up, so the team takes him to a restaurant where he can drink lots of alcohol again to stay immune while the others get some snacks. June finds a phone and tries calling Yo, but she has no signal. Next, he calls her mother, who tells him where to find Yo. When the group sees a zombie child outside, and Ho cries as he thinks of his own children. Determined to find Yo, June tells the group to leave without him and go see their loved ones. The team takes the car and June goes out to search for an exit. At that moment, Yango hears her boyfriend calling her name, and she yells back to confirm her presence. June follows the sound while shooting or kicking every zombie that tries to stop him. There are too many of them, though, so soon he's totally surrounded. Yango is also running. They can visit their families one by one. Before leaving, Yango asks them to rescue the woman who helped her, but the team can't find anyone around in private. And Ho shows June that he found a body matching the description Yo gave them. And it even has the same name tag. It's been dead for 10 hours, which may mean Yango was behind the massacre in the corridor, not the men. They don't tell Yo the truth, and the group finally leaves the station. As they drive to the city, they see all the destruction and the zombies wandering around. Yango gives June the cassette she took from the bar while a flash on the screen reveals that she killed 59 zombies, but June only killed 9. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.